Yes, sir, ski. And we back with another edition of your favorite podcast, Freewenow.
Till it's backwards.
Listen, it's been a minute, but we back.
Hey.
And I got a word for y'all before we even get into the pod, right? Consistency.
Consistency
is key, right? If you've been watching us, you know that we started this really back in
2020, about 2020, maybe 2021.
We'll say 2021.
Yeah.
Right. So this is 2 years of us procrastinating. Now we started and we're still being faced with that, being consistent, procrastination. You know what I mean? So whatever you want to do in your life, go after it, and you got to be consistent. That's the only way it's going to come to pass. All right, cool. We got some great topics for y'all today, right? We're going to be talking about leadership.
Leadership, bro. Everybody wants to be a leader, but can everybody be a leader?
Can everybody be a leader is a great question. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Like maybe we need to talk about that as well. Can everybody be a leader? You know what I mean? Because you ever heard of the quote, too many chiefs and not enough Indians?
Oh, yeah. You need some workers.
You know what I'm saying? Too many chefs in the kitchen, too many hands in the pot. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong if you're not the leader.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
So let's get into it. We're gonna talk about the importance of the household.
Ooh.
And what that image should look like, right? What should your household and your family household look like? We're gonna talk about, do you think people are born leaders or are they shaped into leaders? Are you born a leader or are you shaped into leaders?
I think that's going to be the first time we disagree.
Yeah, that might be the first time
we disagree.
That might be the first time. And then I think the last couple questions are, why is it important to follow before you lead? You know what I mean? And what does that even mean? Cool. So we'll talk about the first one, bro. So the household, bro, we were talking about this.
Very important.
How should a household look?
Honestly, a household is supposed to be like the shining example of how your kids or the people in it set up their lives, right? It's supposed to be the first introduction on how to operate in society. It's supposed to be the first introduction on how to go through your problems, on how things should move, right? When your household is not complete, it's harder to go through life, right? A lot of kids come from broken homes, right? They don't have a father, they may not have a mother, it may be a toxic environment, right? And those things carry over into their everyday lives, right? And that's why they need the little extra help, right? But when you have a healthy household or you have a shining image on how things are supposed to be conducted, you're set up better in life. You're set up for a stronger sense, right? And everybody should look to make their household, not just a household, but a home, right? It's supposed to be conducive to learn, right? This is where you give them the first onset of what communication is like, right? Not only what communication is like, but a healthy relationship, right? You and your wife should be having a healthy relationship, right? To show the model for what your kids are, because what you accept or your significant other accepts in that household, your kids are going to start to see as truth or what they should be allowed to accept, right? So you have to be able to set that environment up to be conducive for them to be a better person, right? Another thing that I love that some families do in the household, right? They have meetings, right? They have meetings or they turn the TV off during dinner, right? Let's sit down and let's communicate about how we feel today, what we did productive, right? Everybody's not around the TV. Don't get me wrong, I love watching some football and some sports, right? But that should not be the basis of everything that you do in your household. Absolutely. You need to produce that environment and cultivate and nurture the individuals in that house to be better individuals.
No, for sure, bro. I think you hit it on the head, man. I'll throw my 2 pennies in there and say that more is caught than taught.
Yeah.
Right. So you were talking about how, basically y'all have to model this because how they view the world and how they're going to carry themselves in life is going to come from the house. You know what I mean? So they say a divided house will fall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if your household isn't intact, then your life won't be intact. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's another reason why households right now and a lot of kids, households aren't intact right now like they used to be. Families aren't intact right now like they used to be, right? So I think another issue to the culture that we're in, society that we're in, there's so many problems of the youth and individuals and the way we think, right, is starting in the house, right? It's we have a broken home. So when you have a broken home, it's hard to kind of be your best version of yourself when you leave out the front door.
Broken homes produce broken children.
For real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So on that note, right, the household, we talked about, the image of it, what it should look like. What should the hierarchy of a household be?
Hey man, as always, and This ain't just me saying it. The Bible stated it. So if you got a problem with the way I'm about to break it down, go talk to God about it, right?
Facts.
All right. The man is supposed to lead the household. As I said in the previous podcast, the man is supposed to be example on this earth, visual and physical representation of who God is, right? So he should lead the household, right? And then the woman in the Bible, written it, should be his helpmeet, right? She should support him, right? Because though men can be great leaders, we're not always in the details, right? We're not always able to process things in the most efficient way, in a sense, right? We may have an overarching theme, right? And the woman is supposed to help us get to that goal, right? And then, of course, you have your kids on down from there, right? But the hierarchy should be a one that is not divided, right? So you shouldn't be arguing back and forth in front of your kids. You should, like, your kids shouldn't see y'all not being on the same page, right? One thing that I learned, right, and this maybe is just from previous relationships, previous friendships, right? Sometimes you have to be able to swallow your pride in front of people, right? Because it's so easy to have a disagreement in front of everybody. Now people are not listening to what you said because they feel embarrassed that you corrected them or went against them in front of other people, right? So if there's a disagreement, go ahead and break it down with your significant other. Go in the back room. Hey, like, this is what I seen. I didn't think you was right, but I didn't want to call you out. We need to figure out, how do we lead this in a better direction, right? How do we set up this great example for our kids, right? So when it's brought to them, they don't see no confusion on, all right, is mom in charge? Is dad in charge? Are they together? Are they separate? Like, how are things going, right? They have to understand that you're a team so that they understand that when they look for a household, it needs to be a team, right? You have to be able to model that, right? Like you said, you can talk about doing something all day, but if you don't make your feet walk and move you in that direction, nobody's going to ever believe what you're talking about.
Yeah, bro. That model of having a teammate, bro, being a team, right? And family being on the same page, bro. I think that's kind of like, I think that's one of the things that I am going to do moving forward with, you know what I'm saying? Whoever my wife ends up being, my partner, right? Like, we're going to have to lay like ground rules. Yeah. And be like, if we don't agree, if we disagree, or what's our vision of our family? What's the plan, right? And I think you mentioned earlier about sitting down and having dinners without the TV on, right? Sitting down and having dinners without your devices. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you think about it, bro, the way it's set up is like, you wake up, right? Let's say you wake up at 6:30, right? From like 6:30 to 7:30, you may have interactions with your family, right? From 7:30 to like maybe 4 p.m., bro, you're either at school, or at work, extracurricular activities, right? So you've got an hour with your family, and that hour is mostly spent showering, brushing your teeth, eating breakfast, putting your clothes on. So it's really like 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even really like that. You know what I'm saying? So you got 20 minutes really, probably in the car ride, if they drop me off at school or at the dinner table where you rushing and doing whatever, right? Then you get home, it's the same thing. You either rushing to pick them up, rushing to take them home, take them to practice, extracurricular activities, a recital, choir rehearsal, like whatever it is, right? So you got, let's say, we'll call it 40 minutes of that. So you got an hour. So then, but people got homework. You may have stuff from your job. You may have another job, right? So I think, honestly, bro, out of a 24-hour day, bro, and you sleep for 8 hours, bro, you may have like 3 hours
in total
with your family. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be really intentional, bro, about what you want your household to look like, right? What you want your family to look like, right? And how is the hierarchy supposed to go, right? And you know what I mean? I believe, and I agree with Keith, is that it's, like we said from the Bible, God, man, husband, right? Wife, right? Female, woman, and then the kids, right? Not husband and husband, not wife and wife. I'm like, whatever. Like,
gotta say it.
Right. And I said this earlier, and I'll say this again. What I'm not gonna do, is have to give a prelude or a precursor to everything I say, so you won't offend the group.
Yeah, you're gonna offend somebody. If
you get offended, go to another podcast. I'm not gonna do that. What I really meant to say was, because this and that, bro, that's exhausting.
Standing on business.
That is exhausting. So we're not gonna do that. Yeah. You feel me? And you stand for nothing or fall for anything. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm standing for this, and it is what it is. So that's the hierarchy, right? God, man, woman, and the kids. Okay. On that note, your wife is in danger. Your kids are in danger. Who are you saving first?
Oh, so I thought I was so sure on this situation, right? And still, I'm kind of confused on what my answer is, right? Because, and a lot of times, I think when people get in a relationship, right, they get so caught up in like, I have to choose my children in every situation, right? So one thing I'm gonna say, it is fact. You don't get to choose who your kids are. You don't get to choose who your parents are. You don't get to choose the people that you are born into, right?
Yeah.
But your wife, you get to take the time to mold. You get to take the time to experience. You get to take the time to learn. You get to take the time to cry. You get to take the time to be happy. Like you get to choose that person,
partner, bro.
Like completely. Like it's not like maybe not. Like that's who you chose. Your kids, and don't get me wrong, some of these kids out here be problems, right? You love them to death, but they be problems, right? So like, I don't have a solid answer on that. Like, who do I save, right? On one hand, I want to save my kids because that's my legacy, right? They're the ones that are carrying on my name. They're the ones that I'm imparting to, right? And like you said, like you love them on a different level because you give so much for them to be who they are, right?
Right.
But on the second hand, I'm like, bro, my wife, like my best friend, the one that holds me down through everything, like, that's a tough decision, right? It's a tough decision. I can't give you a solid answer, bro. I think it'll be in the moment type thing, like.
I'm saving my wife.
Okay.
We're gonna pray to God for some more kids. and I don't mean to sound flippant, you know what I mean? I don't want to minimize it, but like, cause I love kids. Just in general, I don't have any kids. Yeah. Not that I know of. No, I'm just playing. I don't have any kids. No kids. Just jokes. But I love kids in general. You know what I'm saying? Like I just love the youth. I love kids. I love mentorship and like helping kids out. So I love kids. It's not like I say screw them kids, right? But at the same time, come on, baby, we're gonna make some more kids. Like we're gonna get through it.
You always can make more kids.
You can always make more kids. You feel me? And so I think it's harder to find another great partner than it is to make more kids.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
What if your partner was like, if it was between me and the kids, you should say the kids. Are you still gonna save your partner?
She said, what?
She was like, yo, if we were in a situation where you had to save me or the kids, save the kids, would you still save your partner instead and go against what she asked?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless she had like a terminal disease or something like that and she knew that she was gonna like
be gone.
You know what I'm saying? But like I'm saving my wife.
Okay.
I'm saving my wife. I'm
locked in on that one.
Yeah, I'm locked in. Okay.
You gonna get a from me. Maybe not.
No, I'm saving my wife. All right, so okay. Do you think people are born leaders? We're talking about leadership, especially fathers being head of the household, right? So do you think people are born leaders or they're shaped into leaders?
So this is going to be the first time that me and Hassan disagree on the topic, right?
Yeah.
I think people are shaped into leaders, right? I think you can be born with certain skills that make it easier for you to be a leader, right? Like some people are naturally charismatic. Some people have that natural gift of gab. Like there's certain things that make you more inclined to be a great leader. But I think a true leader is shaped, right? And the reason I say that is because, I mean, we'll get into the like why it's meant to, like it's good to follow before you lead. But I think a true leader is created because you have to have that sense to follow first and being able to understand how that you can be better, right? Don't get me wrong. I think there's so many people that were born and you're expecting them to be a good leader, right? Like you're like, oh, they're going to be a good leader, right? But they don't never take the time to actually hone those skills, whether it's with anything, right? You could be born so fast, but if you don't work on being faster every day, then people are eventually going to pass you, right? And I think that's the same with the leader. Like you could be born with the good graces, or you could be born with the characteristics that help you being a good leader. But if you don't work at being that leader, then you will never be who you thought you were. You will never do these certain things that make you that leader. So I think it is an accumulation over time of taking that knowledge on, listening to different people, learning different things, making these different mistakes that ultimately makes you a leader.
I call manure. I'm saying manure. Okay. I disagree with you. And I think some people just got it. You know what I'm saying? I think some people are just born and they're just leaders. And to your point, do they need to be reformed? Do they need to be polished? Yes. I think some people just, in kindergarten, some people just following this one person. You know what I'm saying? Some people just like, I don't know, they just got it, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just in them. You know what I mean? Like something that you can't like really teach. You can polish, but I don't think you can like force somebody to go outside of their nature, if that makes a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can be a leader by position. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be a leader. Okay, I got promoted to this position. Oh, now I'm the supervisor. Now I'm the manager. So they've shaped me to be a better whatever that position is. Mm-hmm. But we just talking about just like raw. Well, just like it's something going on. We need to make a decision. Who's gonna step up? I think that's just boring, bro. I don't think you can teach that.
And that's the thing. I still disagree with that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there are some people are going to step up, right? There's some people are going to do that. But I've experienced people that I would never follow in my life get into a position of leadership, and their whole mentality changes. It's like you can tell you like, man, this person's not leading nobody. Like, they don't got it in them, right? And then like they get thrust into an area where they have no other choice but to learn how to be that leader, and they thrive, right? And I don't think that's just because like they always had it. I think it's something that they worked at. Like, it was something that was put onto them, where maybe it was their inability to allow themselves to fail, or their inability to like disappoint in a sense, that made them go into that leadership role, that made them pick up and be greater, right? And yeah, like I said, I think some people have some born gifts. But I think when that spotlight is put on you, sometimes you just have to show up.
That's what I'm saying. And I feel like you're proving my point. I feel like, okay, we'll take, right? We've both been in leadership on our job, right? And so we'll take an employee, right? Or a person that's not in a leadership role and they're underperforming, right? Or they have an attitude, or they are a problem child, problem kid, right?
Yeah.
From my experience, normally when you're dealing with somebody that's underperforming off of of an attitude thing, not lack of ability, but for attitude, those normally are the people that are the leaders, because they want more. You know what I'm saying? They're in a position, they're like, why am I doing this? Why am I like, I don't know. Like, a lot of times the people that want to know why a lot, I give them a responsibility, and they perform, they peak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think it's just in you, bro. Like, cause it's kind of like this, bro. It's kind of like, I think leadership is a gift, bro. I think you can, like I said, some people, you can put them in a position, and just based off the role, you can tell them what to do, and they're just good people, and they can be a good role. They can fill in the role. Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about just people that are just like polarizing, influential. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm talking about on doing illegal activity too. Yeah. I'm talking about bad people too. You know, criminals too. Like, some people, they just got a knack, bro, for influence, and people just drifting towards them that they didn't even like work at, and they didn't even try to do. It's just like wherever they go, people just follow them and just gravitate to them. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I disagree.
But I think on that sense, like just because people gravitate to you doesn't make you a leader. Like, I think people can gravitate to you and you not be a leader. Like, it's like you said, it's like influence. Just because you got influence doesn't mean you're a leader. It just means people like maybe they like your personality, they like the things you do, right? But I don't think that necessarily makes you a leader, right?
But what's leadership with no influence?
Okay, like I'm saying, but I think you can have, well, like you said, what's leadership without influence? It's not really leadership.
It's not,
you're not leading
bro.
Anybody. But
you're not influencing them to do anything.
You can have influence and not be a leader.
Give me an example.
Like, people could follow you and like what you do, but you're not leading them nowhere. Like, you're not doing nothing for them. They just like what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, hey, I wear this shirt, right? Oh, I like his style, so I'm gonna keep wearing what he was. It's not like you leading anybody; they just like what you're doing. So I guess I'm looking at it as in the sense of making people's lives better or do something more with it, right? That's how I'm kind of like defining that leadership, not just in the sense of, well, I kind of like his like I like his charisma, I kind of like it, like what he does, so I'm gonna wear what he wears, or I'm gonna say the things that he says, right? I'm looking at it as in a sense of like being able to take people to a different area that they've never been. Like being able to put them in a position to better their life, like being able to put them in a position that changes the world, right? Not just I like the way I like his fits, or I like the way he has cars, I like the way he raps and like do these certain things, or I like this, so I'm a kind of do the same thing. Like I don't think you're really leading people, right? Because you're not giving them the tools to be better. They're just kind of copying you.
I think that can be polished though.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying, like you can polish that though. You know what I'm saying? I can be like, okay, boom, that person, everybody follows them, but like you're not doing anything with it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be a street ball player and you nice and everybody likes to come see you hoop, but you got to get, but you're not doing nothing with it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So let's polish that. Let's put you in organized basketball, put you on the team, and let's actually get you to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like sometimes we try to make leadership super deep. You know what I'm saying? I feel like sometimes we try to make leadership into this role of, I don't want to say into this role of positive things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you can lead people to go storm the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? And that's not, and that, you know, I'm not condoning that, but at the same time, you have to have some type of influence. There has to be something, a quality, a likable trait about you to be able to get people to do that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I can work on leadership, or whoever can work on leadership 100 years and people still not want to go storm the Capitol for you.
So I guess what you're saying is like people having traits that make them more like, let me say, like it makes them a better candidate to be a leader is what you're saying, right? But okay, so I agree with that. Like some people have traits to make them a better leader, right? But like what you said, I think kind of like goes along my point is like you got to polish that. Like you got to make them into that leader, right? Right. Though they have this influence, they're not doing nothing with it. And unless somebody takes them the time to teach how to lead, then they will never be that leader. They'll just be somebody with influence.
So, okay, so what's the difference between, what is leadership?
Well, I think I'll look at leadership in a positive role, right? Even though you can have negative leadership, right? I think it's being able to take people and like commit them to like your idea, right? And change like the way they do things into an idea, right? So I think that's what leadership is, like being able to motivate people into a different sense, right? Being able to make people better, right? Based off of the knowledge that you're giving and the example that you're setting. Okay.
We'll just agree to disagree. Yeah. We're going to have to agree to disagree. Okay. So another thing with leadership, right, is your communication skills, right?
Very important.
And so communication skills aren't just you speaking, right? Or it's not just your followers speaking, right? A lot of times it has to do with listening.
You gotta listen.
You gotta listen, right?
You gotta listen.
So let's talk about the difference between like listening and hearing.
Okay. So I had a quote, and don't throw tomatoes at me because I don't remember who said the quote. I just heard it somewhere and I want to get it off, right? A leader who refuses to listen will soon find themselves surrounded by people that have nothing to say, right? With leadership, which goes along with being able to follow, right? You're not always going to be right. There is no way on this possible green earth that you're always going to be right about everything that you have. You're never going to be right about the direction that you're leading people. You're never always going to be right about the ideas you have. You're never going to be right about the things that you stand on, because you see leaders go back on certain things that they thought were the most important thing the whole time, right? Right. Like going on to Martin Luther King Jr., he was going with the very nonviolent mentality, right? Right. And the later he got, if you read about it, he started to realize that wasn't the way to go about it. Right. That wasn't that nonviolent undertone was not the way to go about it. Right. So I think as a leader, you have to be willing to listen to the counterparts you have around, right? Because you're leading these people, they obviously have valuable things to say. Somebody's going to have a different way to do something, right? You like to screw a screwdriver with your right hand, somebody might tell you, hey, use your left hand. It might be a little bit easier, right? You may step with your left foot first, and somebody says, no, step with your right foot, and it might be easier, right? Like, people always have valuable information to give, right? And as a leader, though you're getting all this valuable information, you have to be able to sift through that and see what is important, right? But you also have to be able to admit when you're not right. Like, yo, hey, my bad. This isn't the right way to do it.
Yeah.
So let's take these ideas from all these people that I'm leading, all these people that are following me, all these people that are giving me valuable information, and let's do it this way, right? And if you don't have the ability to do that as a leader, then your campaign or whatever you're building on is eventually going to hit a halt, because it is going to be stopped at the knowledge that you're capped at.
Right. No, absolutely, bro. I think to piggyback off of that is everybody has a voice. You know what I'm saying? And you hear the phrase, see something, say something. Right. So if you're in a group and you're the leader, you can't see everything.
You can't
see everything. Right. And that's the beauty of having a team. They can see things that you can't see. Right. And a lot of times that's kind of like the beauty of being a leader on the court or on the field. Right. But you got teammates that's on the field that can see things that you can't see. You know what I'm saying? You got the coach that can see things that you can't see. You know what I'm saying? So with a team, with a pack, with a group of people, and you got your leader. As leaders, you want your people to feel like they have a voice, right? And they can say insightful information. You know what I mean? Like, we're not just letting people just say wild stuff just for the heck of it, right? But at the same time, we want everybody to feel like they can say something, because you're only one person.
Yeah.
You don't know it all. You don't have all of the ability. You can't see it all. You can't do it all by yourself. You know what I mean? So it's important that you listen, not hear, because I feel like when you hear, you're hearing to respond. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When you're listening, it forces you to process and take in the information to see from their perspective what they're saying.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of times that takes work, right? Because I know there's sometimes I'm having a conversation and I catch myself in my own head thinking about what I need to do to respond to this person, right?
And you can't even hear what they're saying.
I'm not listening to anything they say. Like, right. I forgot completely about what they were saying, right? And then I come out and I'm hitting with stuff, and they're like, well, I said something that goes along with that. Like, what are you talking about? Right. And I just realized that I didn't listen to anything that they had to say, right? Because all I wanted to do was respond. Like, I wanted to be right so bad, right? And I think that's another toxic thing that people try to put into leadership, as if you have to have all the answers, right?
And you know what? That's a great segue, right? Because it is approaching 2024 and the election is coming up, right?
Yeah.
Why does every presidential candidate get up there and they have to have an answer to every question?
Yeah.
I want somebody to go up there and they're doing their debates, their interviews, and I want them to say, you know what? I don't know the answer. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I feel like everybody goes up there, and I'm about to monologue right now. I feel like everybody goes up there and they try to have a rehearsed answer that somebody said backstage, right? And so they get up there and they try to verbatim spit it out, right? Have diarrhea of the mouth, right? Of something they don't even really know about, right? But why don't y'all just say, hey, I don't know about it? That's the thing about COVID that pissed me off, right? Because every day there was a new development. Fauci saying this, the news saying this. Every 6 feet. No, you can't get if you wear a mask. Well, if you're only 10 minutes around them, you can't do. Well, no, actually, if you get the vaccine, well, wait a minute. If you don't need the vaccine, I'm like, yo, why don't y'all just say, as a leader, as leadership for the country, right? Just say, we don't know what's going on and we're trying our best.
Yeah. Somebody's campaign slogan needs to say, hey, I don't got all the answers.
I don't have all the answers.
Because that, like I told you, you can't have all the answers, bro. Like,
you cannot.
Something new is going to happen in this world that somebody has never experienced before.
Never. That just is what it is. And why don't y'all be a leader, right? Why don't somebody step up and be like, you know what? I don't have all the answers, but we're a team and we one nation under God, and we're going to come together and we're going to work on both sides. Republicans, Democrats, independent, whatever you are, whatever your party is, at the end of the day, we're gonna put the U.S. first, and we're gonna come up with a solution as a unit.
Yeah, I don't got the answer right now, but I'm gonna get back to you.
I'm gonna find out and report back.
I'm gonna do my research, and then I'm gonna come to you with some ideas. And let's see what we come up with.
Let's see what
we us as a team come up with.
What do you think? What is your input on it?
Exactly.
I'm not too well versed in this area. I'm not that familiar with it. What do you think? Give me your input.
My degree's in criminal justice. I don't know nothing about the food industry. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no answer for you.
I don't have no answer for you for that. That's where you step up and you provide your input. And now we can sit down as a team and go over it.
Yes.
My bad. Go ahead.
Nah. What you're saying was correct, right? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, a bad thing I think about some leaders is they're just a spokesperson. They're not a real leader. They just a face that everybody uses to speak through them, right? The only way you're going to be a real leader is if you have your own mind. The only way you're going to be a real leader is if you have your own mind. And I'm saying with that's not disregarding what everybody else to say, but that is standing on the principles that you are building what you are leading off of. That is being able to see when 150 million people are looking at you and say, no, that's not the right thing. No, you shouldn't do that. I believe in this, so this is what we're going to do.
Standing on business.
I believe in this, so this is what we're going to do.
Standing on business.
I see y'all problems. I see what you're saying. I understand it. I'm taking it in. I receive it. I'm listening to what you're saying. But based off of my leadership style and what I believe in, this is what we got to do.
Okay. To that point.
This is what we got to do.
To that point. Okay. We didn't talk about the pressure of leadership. All right. And so what you're saying right now, going against the grain after you have received all the information, after you did listen and process it, after everybody does have a voice, you standing on business, right? Let's talk about the pressure, bro. There's a pressure aspect of the leadership as well, right? So, is that something that can be rehearsed, the pressure? Or is it just some people like pressure and some people don't?
I don't think the pressure can be rehearsed, right? Because nothing's like a game time situation, right? You could go, like people doing football, sometimes they bring in the crowd noise, they make the clock, they're like, it's a 2-minute drill, you got to make this play. But until you're in the shoes, when everything relies on the decision or the play you're about to make, it is nothing that you can rehearse. Like there's nothing that can truly prepare you for that moment, right? It's something that you gotta make happen, right? I'll take this into the simplest terms. You ever been in a car, right? Say it's you driving around and there's 3 people in the car, right? And hey, I need to take a right-hand turn at this stoplight, right? I need to take a right. And everybody in the car like, nah, it's left, bro. Like the first person in front, nah, you got to take a left, right? And you're like, nah, bro, it's right. And the person in the back like, nah, you got to take a left. And you're like, no, bro, I know it's right. The third person, nah, you got to take a left. You like, you know what? I'm going to take this left. And you take the left, bro. And the only thing you can do is look at everybody and be like, man, I told y'all it was a right. Like I told y'all I was supposed to take a right, right?
Right.
But that's because you didn't stand on your values. That's because you didn't stand on that voice that inside of you is telling you, yo, this is the right thing to do, right? And that's like that outside pressure, right? It's like everything is bearing down on you. And no matter how much pressure comes your way, I think when you really have a true decision or there's something so real in your life, it's like this quiet voice that you can hear in screams. Yeah. It's like all the music is blaring in the club and you can hear this one voice that's like, nah, girl, you got to do it this way. And if you let that pressure drown it out, and it's like, even when you hear stuff drown it out, you can still hear it, right? Even when you're making the decision, you can still hear that voice like, nah, bro, do it this way. And it's that capability to understand that if you are going to be a true leader, you have to believe in what you're leading on. And if you don't truly 100% believe in that, then you will never do anything with it.
So, bro, as a leader, is that being able to go through that pressure night in and night out, is that something that you're born with? Or is that something that can be shaped?
Being able to go through that pressure? I think you can... I don't know, man. Maybe it's like trial and error, right?
Yeah.
I think it could be trial and error, right? Like, I think if you're put in a situation and you fold, right, and you reevaluate, like, damn, like I should have did it this way, right. Or I should have stood on this idea that I believed in, right? And then you're put in that situation again, and maybe you fail again, and then you're put in that situation again, and then finally you get it right. The pressure didn't change. The only thing that changed is your ability to deal with it. Don't get me wrong. I think some people can crumble under that. Like, I think some people don't have the ability to learn how to deal with the pressure, right? But I do think it's a learned trait.
I think that's something that you're born with, bro. I think it's your mind. You said it earlier. Like, being a leader is having your own mind.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes, bro, if you just got your own mind, and you gotta like the lights too. You gotta sometimes want the pressure. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have that in you, bro, you might just not have that in you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't be the quarterback.
Yeah, everybody can't.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't. And it's not to say that you're lesser of a person. You still have an important role. We can't win without you. but it's a different type of pressure. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't, and everybody can't
hack it.
They can't hack that, bro. So I think that, like you said, bro, being put in a situation and still having a desire to keep going and keep overcoming that takes a strong mind, and that takes a almost something that you can't teach, bro. I can keep putting you in that position, but if you're not overcoming it, if you don't want to overcome it, there's no real course that I can like you said, I can't put you through a course and rehearse that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Either you kind of got that will or you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you either, bro, you just don't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that's something that you can be like. And I mean, there are courses on leadership, right? People say, hey, become a better leader, this, that, and take my leadership course. But I think there's also skipping the fact of these are leaders already. You know what I'm saying? So you're taking the course to get better and polish it. So I don't know. So, okay, we'll wrap it up real quick about why you should follow before you lead. Like, what's the importance of following a leader? What's the importance of being a great follower before you can become a great leader?
All right. So in the simplest of terms, you cannot make anything out of nothing. You have to have the basis or the frameworks to innovate. Everything in this world that's been created, besides when God created the earth, has been taken from something that's already here.
Yeah, it's an iteration of something else.
It's an iteration of something else. It's a innovation of something else. Like music nowadays, like if y'all realize a lot of it is just samples. Samples of music that's already been created. Things that are put on this earth, you taking natural elements and creating into something else, and then they're innovating that and they're innovating this, right? Which is why you have so many different brands that do the same thing, right? So many different brands that do the same thing. So you have to learn how to follow, right? Because if you don't understand what you're asking people to do, or you've never done it, you've never seen somebody do it, how could you in good conscience tell somebody to go do that, right? Like, just as simple, like being in the Navy, right? Like, if I tell somebody to go do this maintenance, but I have never watched the maintenance done, I've never seen how long it took, I've never seen what could be the problems with it, like, how could I accurately evaluate their ability to do it, or accurately tell somebody how long it could take them to do it, how big the process could be? Like, if you've never followed, if you've never seen somebody else lead, then you don't have a template to develop your leadership, right? Because I think, like you said, one of the biggest things is like learning from people, like learning from people's mistakes, right? Not having to be the one to touch the stove and understand it's hot, right? Like seeing somebody else touch the stove and be like, I don't want to lead like that. I don't want to be the one to touch the fire, right? You have to follow, right? It's so important to being a leader, is understanding what it is to not be the one that's in charge.
No, that's real. I think, but that's pretty much to sum it up. To be a leader, you have to be a follower. You know what I'm saying? You got to know what's going on. You got to know how the followers think and how to communicate to the lowest level to even be a leader, right? To motivate them. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know what they're going through. You don't even know what they're thinking. You don't know what it's like to be in the back and, like, you know, carrying all the weight, you know what I'm saying, and not being able to see the full vision and full picture because you're so far down on the pedestal or hierarchy or pyramid or whatever, right? So as a leader, you have to know what it's like to be in that position before you can effectively, you know what I'm saying, lead the way you should. So, sum it up, leadership, I think you got it or you don't.
I think you gotta get coached it.
You gotta be coached and mentored, right? And you know, but all in all, you know, we'll take it back, just a summary, right? Spark notes of it. The household, God, man, woman, kids, right? Leadership, right, is you have to listen versus hearing. You know what I mean? What's the quote again?
A leader who does not listen will soon find themselves surrounded by people with nothing to say.
Absolutely. So any last minute words of wisdom for the people?
Nah, man, as always, bro, I love being here. Follow me on IG at Chief_Gilmore. Follow me on Twitter at Call Me Sweat.
Yes, Sirski, and that's the pod. Freewenow.
Till it's backwards.
Yes, Sirski.